Hi, welcome back. Matthew here from Sales Results. And of course, we've got Tracey from Tech Knowledge once again for this week's edition of Sales and Marketing Playing Nicely. And remember, we're talking specifically about technology people and technology businesses, but not that this actually goes across all businesses that we come across. Isn't that right, Tracey?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So look, one thing that's a huge challenge for businesses is the money and time seesaw. Now, money comes and goes. But time only ever goes. So one of the big time wasters that we were just talking about earlier is the unqualified face-to-face meeting. So Tracey, you had a few thoughts on that. I wanted to kick it over to you.
Well, I've been really surprised with so many software companies, technology companies, who are prepared to jump on a plane or cross town or whatever in order to have a meeting with someone they've never had a telephone conversation with. And I'm thinking, why on earth would you do that? I haven't done that in years. So from my viewpoint, it's absolutely critical to have the telephone call first. All those questions you need to ask to determine whether this is a marketing qualified lead that could be a sales qualified lead. So to me, the telephone call is critical, and hopefully we'll get into what goes into that telephone call. But to me, never have a meeting without a telephone call first.
Perfect. I've actually even got some of my customers to stop doing face-to-face demos because they travel, across town or even across the country to do a demo, and they haven't qualified the lead well enough. And you know what? A lot of the time you can do this stuff online. So look, Tracey, what are some of the questions? So how do you actually qualify these people? So if you're watching these videos, grab your pen and paper, think about some of the ideas, some of the questions you absolutely need to have the answers to before getting out of your seat. So Tracey, what are some of the things you ask and to help the nice people out there with their thinking?
The person will have asked for a conversation with me. I call it a growth catalyst, but the whole idea is that they have moved through my funnel. They've come to the website, they found something they like, they've read about the way we work, they are comfortable that we can help them, and then one person from that company will reach out and ask for a meeting. So they generally want to meet face-to-face for coffee. I say, no. I find a way of not doing that, regardless of whether they're just across the road or not. And so I always organise a meeting for 3 or 4 days' time by phone. And I want to know what it is they're trying to achieve in the next 12 months. And longer, what their end game is going to be. Do they want to float, or do they want to sell the technology, for example? Then I ask them what obstacles are getting in their way. This is what they're trying to achieve. How come they haven't achieved it? What's causing them problems? And then I ask them what they've tried that hasn't worked before, and what have they tried that has worked. And that way I can identify what it is they're trying to achieve, what they have tried that hasn't worked, and where the opportunity may be for us to help. And then I just pause, and they generally will say, well, do you think you can help me? Then that's the opportunity to move from a fact-finding mission, if you like, to a selling conversation.
Yeah, perfect. So my framework is really very similar. All I want to understand is where they are now, where they want to be, what they've tried to fill the gap. And really one of the questions I ask is why don't they do it themselves? Because that's really where the rubber hits the road. That's really where they're going to say, look, I can't do it myself, or I don't want to do it myself, or I don't have the time to do it myself. And that's where that gap can be filled by somebody in sales and marketing. Because one of the great challenges is if they think they can do it themselves, or they are doing it very successfully themselves, they don't need me. And very rarely do people really want sales strategy and sales, or they really don't want marketing but want the result of that. But if they can get there themselves, then they don't need us. So have a think about in your business today about what are the things that the customer needs to, or you need to know about the customer before you go ahead and meet them. And one other key element that I do want to find out is ask them how they're going to, what budget they've got allocated to solve it.
So I find that's terribly, terribly important, because when the conversation moves from what their problems are and what they're trying to achieve and across to how we may be able to help, it's absolutely critical to discuss money in that conversation, because the prospect is not qualified if they don't know how much money it's going to cost. You could then end up still wasting time crossing the country or crossing town and find there isn't a match on the money side. There has to be understanding on how much money it's going to cost to achieve the objective. And part of that, of course, is understanding the value of a sale. If the value of the sale is this and the cost to get it is that, and there's a mismatch there too. So it's very important to get all of this clear in the conversation first.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And of course, you can't assume a business who's doing, many millions or many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year has got the budget for sales and marketing, because they may not value that piece of work. They might value something else that's occurring in the business. They might not actually say, well, we're willing and able to put money towards that.
Absolutely.
So the little activity today is go ahead and think about the things that you need to understand about a customer before you go and meet them, if you do face-to-face meetings. And typically it's where they are now, where they want to be, what their budget is, what they've tried in the past, like you said, Tracey, and what they're willing to do in the future. Very good.
One thing before closing, a number of our clients we have started working with before we've actually met. We have met at the first engagement, which is the workshop. So it's entirely possible to do it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got customers in Vietnam, Brooklyn, New York, Auckland, New Zealand, and of course also in Sydney. And I'm based here in Brisbane. Actually, I live on the Gold Coast, and quite a few of my customers are also in Brisbane. So I've actually not met about around half the roster of my customers. I've never met them face to face at all. So don't think that you must do that face-to-face conversation or must do that face-to-face demo. This is a video conferencing world we live in now, and also face-to-face meetings do suck up a lot of time. If you're going to travel there, travel back, make notes, it really doesn't give you the greatest leverage for your time. Remember, money comes and goes, but time just goes.
Quite right.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks very much. Talk to you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.